I'm really happy and pleased and honored to be here. I met Elif 15 years ago. We went to university together at University of Kent. And back then, we were two PhD students, not knowing exactly what we're going to do. But in the meantime, I think we did really well.
Biz Elif'le 15 yıl önce buluştuk. İkimiz de doktora öğrencisiydik. Pek ne yapacağımızı bilmiyorduk ileriye dair. Ama ikimiz de iyi yol aldık.
So I met her again last year, and she invited me to Bern to participate at the EthnoKino festival in Bern. And that's when I came up with the idea of having the same festival in Cluj-Napoca, Romania, my hometown. And we organized it, the first edition, in May 2025, 3 months ago. And it was a real success story.
Yıllar sonra Barcelona'da karşılaştık. Elif beni Bern'e davet etti. Orada EthnoKino Film Festivali'ni gördükten sonra neden Cluj-Napoca'da da yapmıyoruz dedim. Cluj-Napoca Romanya'da çok güzel bir şehir. Ve 3 ay önce orada gerçekleştirdik. Çok güzel bir deneyimdi.
Okay, so now I'm going to start a master class. I really thank the sponsors for inviting us here. It's a very beautiful and out of this world landscape, and I'm more than happy to present here. And I really hope that what I'm saying it will touch somebody's heart, or you will feel a bit inspired, and you will come up with your own ideas. This is my only hope for this master class.
Usta sınıfına şimdi başlıyorum. Umarım sizlere ilham verebilir.
Okay, so I am an anthropologist, and I teach visual anthropology at Department of Film in Cluj-Napoca. And besides that, I'm doing a few more projects. And during the pandemic, I was contacted by an organization to make. So it was a commission film to make a film, a short film for the policymakers. Because in Cluj-Napoca, the second biggest city in Romania, we also have a big stain on our cheek, so to say. Besides that, we are innovative, we're very beautiful, we're very modern, so and so. We also have a very unfortunate, marginalized and segregated Roma community, Gypsy community. Like 3,000 people are living in deep poverty on the landfill near Cluj-Napoca. So the commission work was to make a film about the conditions of these Roma groups, this Roma community. And tonight I'm going to introduce you just a few minutes of that video, because it's how it started the rest of the project. So.
Şimdi size çok marjinalleştirilmiş bir komitemizden, yani Romalardan bahsetmek istiyorum. Onlarla ilgili kısa bir klip göstereceğim. Bu klipleri genelde politikayla uğraşan insanlara da gösteriyorum.
De mai multe feluri. În Sud și în Moldova, desigur, cel puțin 500 de ani putem vorbi de înrobire, de robia romilor. Ei au fost exploatați și de biserică, și de domnitori, și de boieri. În Imperiul Habsburgic nu exista robie, care era particular pentru Moldova și țara românească. Aici politica casei habsburgice a fost de asimilare forțată, chiar de a lua copiii de la părinții și de a da la țărani. Erau tratați ca și inumani, ca și ființe neumane, animale.
Avem cel puțin două procese. Unul este procesul istoric de împingerea comunităților de romi către periferie. Are cel puțin 150 de ani. În urma eliberării romilor din sclavie, sălașele, așezările de romi, comunitățile au tot fost împinse pe parcursul dezvoltării localităților. Și avem un proces recent, uneori foarte dur, de evacuări forțate și de relocări.
Nu au respectat nici măcar legea care interzice orice fel de evacuare sau ale locale pe timp de iarnă.
Era înainte de Crăciun cu 7 zile. La 5 dimineața a venit jandarmeria, poliția, oameni din primărie, cam în jur de 200-300 de persoane.
Și au venit, mi-au băgat buldozerele în locuință și m-au obligat să mă urc într-un autocar cu destinație necunoscută.
During the pandemic, and it's a longer video. This I only show like 3 minutes of it. And for those of you who do not know, Cluj and Transylvania and Romania, no, we do not have Dracula, and we don't have Babushka, and we don't have poverty. We are like the center of Cluj-Napoca is pretty much similar to the center of Budapest, for instance. So we have tall buildings, we have electricity, we have all that. So what you have seen here, it is something that is very unusual for us Romanians as well. So don't think that, okay, but they live in shacks, in improvised shelters, because this is kind of Romania is pictured abroad in TV news. No, this is also an exception for us. So I knew about this reality, but I faced it full front for a few weeks while I was doing this video. And then if you want to translate a bit.
Bu gerçeklikten hep haberim oldu. Sanmayın ki bu bizim için normal bir şey, ama bu şekilde bir yaşam var ve bunun normal olmadığını düşünüyorum. Kabul edilemez olduğunu düşünüyorum.
Okay, so after this, it was still during the pandemic. I wanted to do something, and I started to teach some of these kids, because the community here is at least 3,000 people, and more than 50% of them are under 18.
3000 kişi var ve %50'si 15 yaşın altında, fakirlikle mücadele ediyor.
So they literally live on the garbage fill. And community, like municipality, is trying to find some solutions, but it's still so slow. They are marginalized. Most of them are Roma, and this is pure segregation. And what I tried to do, so during the pandemic, I went with a few students of mine with complicated cameras, and we taught them how to film for a few hours. So that was during the pandemic.
Romanların çoğu maalesef böyle çöplük alanlarında yaşıyorlar, yaşatılıyorlar. Bu tam anlamıyla bir segregasyon ve nüfusun %50'si 15 yaşın altında. Pandemi döneminde oraya gittim ve çocukların ellerine kameralar verdim ve onlara hayatlarını filme almalarını istedim.
And then when I started to think of organizing EthnoKino festival, under the title, the topic of magic, I was starting to think, okay, magic is so broad. How do you define what is magic actually? And because Romania and I think many parts of the world is crossing some crisis, and we are very antagonized and we are very radicalized against each other, I thought that would be a good topic to make it narrow and say the magic of communication. So the EthnoKino Festival in Cluj, in Romania, was organized under the umbrella of magic of communication. The fact that we can still communicate, the fact that we can still have a dialogue, it's something magic.
Ben Cluj-Napoca'da EthnoKino Film Festivali'ni bu yılki teması, yani büyü, magic ile gerçekleştirirken bunu nasıl yapacağımı düşündüm ve iletişimin büyüsü adı altında yapmayı düşündüm ve bu gerçekten çok güzel oldu.
So in March, April and May, right before the festival, 2 months before the festival, I started to think of this workshop for the Roma kids that I already knew. And I said, maybe we can do something and use a film as a tool of communication, bridging the people, the children in those neighborhoods with Cluj people. And so we organized, me, my students, and a few colleagues of mine of Department of Film in Babes-Bolyai University. We organized for 5 weeks a workshop where we had children from these communities, and we taught them basics, but not with the fancy cameras. We taught them how to film with their phones because most of them have phones, and we thought that it is not necessarily useless, but it's not so important for them to learn how to use a professional camera and do not have access to that ever again, or maybe just after a few years. So we started to organize this workshop so they can tell their own story, because a few years ago I told their story for the NGO that commissioned me, and now I wanted them to have the power, to have the camera, to have the tools to tell their own story with their own words, with their own images.
Film festivali vesilesiyle bir atölye düzenlemeye karar verdim ve bu atölyede çocukların eline çok büyük kameralar veremesem de telefonlarıyla da çekim yapabileceklerini söyledim. Bu da gerçekten çok verimli bir sonuç verdi.
So me and my colleagues and my students taught them how to write the script, how to find an issue that they have questions about, they have concerns about, and how they can develop a story. So that was the script writing workshop. Then they developed. So then we met again after 2 weeks, and they had some stories written more or less. So we developed them more. And then in the next workshop, we had a filming workshop where my colleague taught them what is framing, how to frame, what is a close-up image, what is a distant image, and so on. And we had a few exercises with them, and we sent them out in the field to get images. Then they started to interview their parents. They started to make their own small videos. And the next week, we started to look at them and say, okay, this is good, maybe you can improve this and that. So it was a constant feedback process. And then the last part was editing together with them.
Onlara atölyenin farklı deneyimlerini sunduk. Senaryolaştırma, hikaye anlatımı, kurgulama, gidip aile çekimleri yapma, sonra feedback yani geri bildirim alma üzerine birçok haftalarca çalıştık onlarla.
And now I can show you a few images from these workshops to see a bit how it went.
Şimdi size son olarak bu videoyu göstermek istiyorum. Nasıl bir deneyimdi, siz de görün istiyorum.
Tu să faci cele 4 interviuri. Vrei așa? Și tu acum pregătește astfel încât să pună 3 sau 4 întrebări mari care să producă.
So yes, this is script writing, and in the beginning they had a problem like understanding how and why should I write this, and we had to have additional questions. What would you like to say? Why do you think it's important? And then we moved to filming, teaching them how to film. They were making basic movements like and also Roma dances.
Danslar yaptılar. Onlara nasıl film çekilmesi gerektiğini gösterdik. Yani nasıl kompozisyon yapmayı gösterdik.
Yes, this is when he was trying to teach them what is framing, and we understood that they don't understand what framing is. So we have to first explain the concept.
Çerçeveleme yani kompozisyon nasıl kurulur konseptini onlara anlattık.
So this is framing. I'm explaining them what is framing. This was for 5 weeks, and some of the children unfortunately dropped the project. Some of them didn't show up, and I had to almost dragged them out of the bed. No, I'm kidding, but like calling their supervisors, their team leader, the Roma community team leaders, talking to the aunts, talking to the mothers. Hey, where is Bogdan? Hey, he should be here. He should be, I don't know. He stood me up a few times, like we were supposed to film together. When I was here, I am in the center of Cluj of the town, and he's not showing up. I can't remember when was the last time I was stood up by a guy like this. But anyway, so what I'm trying to say is that it was not an easy ride. You have to put a lot of energy, and you have to just telling them, because also their Roma community leaders were telling them, you are so lucky. I really wish when I was your age, somebody would have given me a camera or teach me how to do my own film. You cannot understand the privilege that you have now. These people are teaching you, and they'll put you on the spotlight, and it's going to be your story that is going to be on the screen. So of course they're 13, 16, 17 years old. So they acted like probably any other teenagers. So yes, it was not an easy ride, but in the end, we ended up with three videos. And tonight I'm going to show one of them, and it's done by Flaviu. He's 13 years old. Unfortunately, the subtitle is in Romanian, but we're going to lower a bit the volume, and you're going to hear again my beautiful voice instead of his voice translating for you. I'm sorry for this small inconvenience.
Şimdi usta sınıfının sonuna geldim. Size yaptığımız 3 filmden birini göstermek istiyorum. Altyazısı Romanca olduğu için ben sesimi duyacaksınız. Size İngilizceye çevireceğim.
So there's a big difference. That's the title. So everything is filmed by Flaviu, by the child, by the teenager.
Flavio adlı genç tarafından çekiliyor.
So there are 2 more films like this, and we plan to do another project next year, but not in a Roma community, but in a community that has been a mining community and now has been closed down, and people with the unemployment rate is really high, and there are a lot of social problems. And this is not in Cluj, but is in Transylvania, and we plan to do the same, to teach the teenagers to make their own films and to tell their own story, and through the film maybe to find solutions and how to feel better, or how to have a better life in their own villages and towns. So this masterclass, I think, I don't know, it is about how we can use film as an integrative a tool to integrate especially children or disadvantaged groups, and I think empowering them, to giving them the camera, giving them the knowledge and the skills to tell their own story. So thank you.
Bu usta sınıfı gençleri, özellikle marjinalleşmiş gençleri güçlendirmek ve seslerini duyurabilmek içindi. Umarım sizler de böyle çalışmalar yaparsınız. Thank you a lot, Oana, for the wonderful masterclass.